Let me share a common set of criteria women often look for in a partner: a height of over 1.72 meters, at least a college degree, a monthly income of over 5,000 yuan, above average looks, not ugly or greasy, and while they may not own a house or a car, they should have ambition. Many single women, after binge-watching dramas featuring tall, rich, and handsome men, might view these requirements as making the young man seem quite ordinary. If they saw these standards written down, they'd likely dismiss him without a second thought, not even bothering to meet him. Yet, while each of these conditions might seem typical, together they become quite extraordinary. First, let's talk about height. 1.72 meters isn't a high bar. It doesn't even ask for 1.80 meters. According to public data, the median height for Chinese men aged 20 to 29 is exactly 172 centimeters, while the median for women is 160 centimeters. That means roughly half the population can meet this requirement, making it genuinely ordinary. Now, let's move on to education: a college degree or higher. Since 2000, China's annual birth rate has stabilized between 16 and 17 million, and following the two-child policy, there's been almost no change. In 2016, around 9.4 million students registered for the college entrance exam, with 7.72 million getting admitted, a whopping 82.15% admission rate. This translates to about 45% to 48% of people obtaining a college degree, which is close to half. Next is the income requirement: earning over 5,000 yuan a month. This expectation is also quite modest. 5,000 yuan a month doesn't seem excessive. Yet, there are about 600 million people in the country earning less than 1,000 yuan monthly, and 95% earn under 5,000 yuan. Most unmarried men and women live in cities, so a national average doesn't quite fit. For example, in Guangzhou, 42% of people earn less than 6,000 yuan a month, while only 26% make over 10,000 yuan. So, making over 5,000 yuan puts you ahead of 42% of your peers. Finally, we have the requirement for above-average attractiveness: not being ugly or greasy. This is a reasonable standard. It doesn't demand that someone look like a celebrity, but they should at least be better looking than more than half the population. This condition knocks out another chunk of candidates. When you combine these four seemingly simple requirements, it becomes pretty daunting. Yet, young men who meet all four of these ordinary criteria are anything but ordinary. A guy who stands at 180 centimeters might not be attractive. Someone who's handsome might only have a middle school education, or a man earning over 10,000 yuan could be only 165 centimeters tall. If you're willing to bend one of these conditions, it might be a little tough but still manageable. However, if you're not willing to compromise on any of your standards, then you'll simply have to accept being single. Only about 5 out of every 100 people fit the mold of an average young man, which is truly quite ordinary. So, finding an average man to marry is a challenge, since 95% of men don't meet these basic standards. And this is just scratching the surface of what's considered ordinary. If you elevate the standards to a height of over 1.80 meters, a degree from a prestigious university, and a monthly income exceeding 10,000 yuan, you're not just looking at 1 in 100, you're looking at 1 in 1,000. Take a look at the admission rates for top universities. Out of 100 candidates, 48 can secure a college degree or higher, but only about 0.79 make it into a top-tier university. Just that one criterion increases the difficulty by 60 times. Even if you have a height of over 180 centimeters, a degree from a leading university, and a monthly income over 10,000 yuan, to most women, these conditions might still just seem average and not necessarily high quality. The truly high-quality men also need to have a house, a car, a height of over 180 centimeters, a degree from a top university, a solid academic background, and a monthly income above 10,000 yuan, all while looking good. Such super high-quality men do exist, but the issue is, if you can't meet similar or comparable standards yourself, then meeting such individuals won't matter. Cinderella can't marry the prince because China has a system of monogamy, and princesses also need to find a match. So, who will they marry? Is anyone willing to marry a gray prince? This highlights a current social paradox. If you see yourself as high quality and set your own standards, you might find plenty of high quality same sex individuals around you. But when it comes to the opposite sex, if you only find a few high quality matches by your standards, no matter how hard you try, marriage may remain out of reach.
Let me share a common scenario when it comes to choosing a partner. Today, a girl born in 1993 contacted me looking for someone to introduce to her. I asked her what she was looking for. She mentioned that her expectations weren't too high. She hopes her partner has a Beijing household registration, an independent living space in a 3-bedroom apartment, was born between 1987 and 1990, holds at least a bachelor's degree, is over 178 centimeters tall, earns more than 300,000 yuan a year, and has above-average looks. On the surface, these requirements seem reasonable, but when we break them down, it reveals some challenges. Right now, there are about 1 million single, eligible young men in Beijing, with roughly 200,000 born between 1987 and 1990. Out of those, around 25% have a Beijing household registration, 15% have an independent living space in a 3-bedroom apartment, about 25% earn over 300,000 yuan annually, roughly 30% are taller than 178 centimeters, about 50% have a bachelor's degree or higher, and only around 25% are considered above average in looks. So, the total number of men in Beijing who meet all of this girl's criteria is only about 200. Beijing has 16 districts, which means there are, on average, about 12 eligible men in each district. With the city covering 16,410 square kilometers, that comes out to roughly 1 eligible man for every 82 square kilometers. So, guys, do you think you can meet these standards? Do you think this girl can find her love?
I'm really tired of this. Can we all just agree on one thing? The idea of high-quality, unmarried women of a certain age is completely nonsensical. Have you ever seen a table with 10 dishes and the last one left untouched isn't because it's the best? When it comes to older singles, it really boils down to one thing. They have an obsessive fixation on specific criteria for choosing a partner. From my experience, these obsessions can be grouped into several categories. 1. Height obsession. They insist on finding someone who is at least 1.80 meters tall. Anything less just won't cut it. I don't even know why it has to be 1.80. If they fall short by just 1 centimeter, it's like the world is ending for them. 2. Education obsession. They demand a partner with at least a bachelor's degree or higher. I really can't figure out why. It's as if not having a higher education is the ultimate deal breaker. No matter how suitable someone might be, if they don't meet this educational requirement, they're automatically out of the running. The education level has to be perfect. 3. Regional obsession. They often fixate on finding someone from a specific location, like only wanting someone from Shandong province or specifically from Qingdao. It doesn't matter how great or compatible a person may be. If they don't meet this geographical demand, they get passed over. Now, considering these obsessive individuals, if someone meets all their height, education, and regional criteria and shows interest, they might still say they don't feel a connection. You set these conditions, and then you add feelings on top of that. Is there anyone out there who can meet all those criteria? Do you even realize what you're asking for? You keep saying you want to find a partner. Are you genuinely looking for one, or just trying to drive me crazy? Can you admit that, no matter how you spin it, you're stuck in your ways? And let's be real, many of these women are quite ordinary themselves, over 30, without a car, a home, or any higher education. There are tons of women like this out there. I don't know where they get the confidence to think they deserve someone who meets all their standards. It's not just about finding someone slightly better than you. Relationships are about two people complementing each other. It's not about demanding that the other person is superior in every aspect. The essence of marriage is about mutual support, not some fairy tale where a prince falls for a Cinderella because she's secretly a princess. Do you see what I mean? And let's discuss all those dwarf friends who supposedly help her out. I want to ask you, do you even have friends? Have you counted? Do you have any idea? I'm pleading with you, ladies, if you truly want to find a partner, please listen to me. Don't cling to your rigid standards. Settle for something reasonable and first look at character, especially when it comes to height. I've never heard of a couple divorcing just because the man was a few centimeters shorter. It's always about differences in values, lifestyles, and compatibility. After a few years of marriage, you'll realize that if you had chosen based on superficial qualities and your husband has flaws elsewhere, it's not going to work out. But if you choose based on character and personality, you'll be pleasantly surprised. You'll find that you both grow into a perfect match over time. Meanwhile, if you focus only on superficial traits, you'll end up with nothing meaningful. So please take this advice seriously. Stop searching for a perfect actor to play the role in your life. I'm really asking you.